Hi folks, this is Monica Dybel coming at you from MJ Foods US Corner Kitchen. Today we're going to be preparing a cream of chicken soup. How often do you dream of chicken and dumplings in a fashion that you could just have soup as opposed to eating a dumpling? Well, I have just the soup for you. We're starting with chicken broth that's already prepared. The chicken broth is already in my pot. It's heating up at this point. It was prepared on a different day, and it was made with fresh vegetables of carrots and onions, celery, fresh leeks, salt and pepper as a seasoning, and we rendered it out, picked the chicken apart, and then froze the chicken broth for later use. Now the chicken stock is in the pot, and we have prepared the vegetables to go into the stock. We have carrots, fresh chopped celery, which is half a bunch. We have 5 stalks of celery, diced and peeled, 5 potatoes, 1½ yellow onions. I already have 6 cloves of garlic into the chicken stock. There's different philosophies about whether you saute your vegetables or whether you put them right into the soup. It depends upon exactly what type of outcome you're looking for. Are you looking for an extremely velvety texture, or are you looking for a little bit more homespun? Either way is valid. Just depends upon what you have in your refrigerator. In this particular situation, I'm going to take a shortcut because I'm going to go ahead and add butter and a roux at a later point in time. So I'm going to go ahead and take my vegetables as my chicken broth is hot, and I'm going to go ahead and gingerly add them without trying to splash into my broth. I started with about 4 quarts of chicken stock, and with the displacement of the vegetables, it will take it up to about probably 6 quarts at this moment in time. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and wait until this reduces and the vegetables become fork tender before we go on to the next step. In the next step, we're going to add a roux, which is like creating a bechamel of butter and flour and a little milk. When we add that to the stock, we're going to go ahead at that moment in time when it becomes thick, we're going to go ahead and add our frozen peas, and we're going to go ahead and add our mashed white egg noodles. This is such a yummy soup and heartwarming soup that your family will love it. We're going to break right now, and we'll be right back. Hi folks, we're back again at US Foods Corner Kitchen. Tonight we were making a cream of chicken noodle soup. So we're at the next segment of our execution of the soup. What I've done is I've created a bechamel, or basically a roux at this moment in time. And I have done this with flour and margarine. You can pick butter or you can use margarine. It's just up to you, whatever you have in your kitchen. Sometimes I always balance my food cost by keeping all my different fats and categorizing them accordingly. Once again, it's cheaper to use margarine than it is to use butter, almost with the same outcome. I've used 3/4 of a cup of margarine, and I've used 3/4 of a cup of flour. And what I did is I just put it into the microwave for 30-second segments to go ahead and melt down. Then I remove it and I stir it up and mix it. Okay? So what I like to do is I'd like to shoot the top of the pot and show you now after the vegetables have cooked down into being fork tender. It's very lovely. It's on a simmer at this point, and we've seasoned and recorrected the flavors. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our frozen peas at this stage of the game. And you only need about maybe 3/4 of a cup or a cup. Just put them in frozen. And once again, it's always good if you like more or less, just to stir it up, just to get a visual in your soup to see what you think the balance is, okay? So I just did that, and I think we're okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our egg noodle, and we're going to add 1/3 of the bag. 1/3 of this bag has already been used. Once again, I'm going to do the same technique. I'm going to go ahead and pick up my spoon. I'm going to stir it around just to see what kind of blend we're going to have. The idea is to have kind of equal parts of pasta, equal parts of potatoes. It's such a yummy combination. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to start to add the butter and the flour mixture. And most importantly is just to add it gingerly and to kind of stir it around and incorporate it into the broth. If you don't do it gingerly, you're going to end up with lumps, okay? And nobody wants to eat lumpy flour and butter lumps in their soup. So a lot of times how I do this is I have a slotted spoon and I'm just kind of gingerly working it so the broth mixture works through the slots in the spoon, and then it starts to dissolve a little bit quicker. And I'm going to continue to do this until all my mixture is complete within the pot. At that moment in time, we're going to go ahead and keep the pot on low and let it simmer, and I will be stirring occasionally throughout that process so that the flour has time enough to thicken your body of soup. All right, so once again, I'm up the last spoonful. And I'm just rocking my slotted spoon back and forth here. I'm always a advocate of not cleaning my dishes. Always cleaning my dishes as I work through my product, but also not cleaning certain things that I'm using until at which time I'm completely sure about if I need to use it again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this soup simmer. I'm going to let it get to a fairly thick consistency, and if it doesn't do what I want it to do, which is kind of typical sometimes in cooking large volumes of mass, then what you can do is you can go ahead and make another batch of your flour and margarine mixture. So we're going to leave at this moment in time and let it simmer, and we'll be back in the next segment. Hi folks, welcome back to MJ Foods US Corner Kitchen. Where we left off was that we had added the roux, which is the flour and margarine mixture that was melted into our soup pot. And as I thought, we had to add more. So we started off with 3/4 of a cup of flour and a cup of butter. We melted that together in the microwave at 40 seconds, stirred together, and then we added it into the soup pot as a recap. As the mixture was incorporated into the soup, we let the soup simmer, and after it was done, we went ahead and evaluated to say that we had to add one more segment. So look how beautiful that became, and we had added another cup of flour, and margarine and some stock out of the pot, mixed it together, and let it reduce just a little bit more. During that time frame, we added 1 cup of milk. So in this whole pot of soup, there's only 1 cup of whole milk. You can add it or not. It's just up to your palate. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and ladle up a bowl, and you can see how it looks in the bowl. It's just lovely. If you're going to have a light lunch, two scoops is sufficient. If you're going to have dinner with maybe some garlic bread or a salad, and there you have it. We have cream of chicken noodle soup for all your enjoyment.